Hello, hello, everybody. Good evening. We're going to take a few minutes to let folks trickle in, and then we will get started. Okay. Wow, y'all are showing out this evening. We got 109 people on the call. Keep them coming. I love it. All right, friends. Well, we're going to go ahead and get started. Good evening, everybody. My name is Justin Barker. I'm one of the associate directors in Duke's New Student and Family Programs office. I'm so excited to be with you all tonight for tonight's webinar. We're going to learn all things career this evening. And so just some housekeeping things right now. So you'll notice that our chat feature is disabled, but we do have the Q&A function up. So you'll have the opportunity to ask questions throughout the presentation, but we're going to answer those questions at the end of the webinar. Okay, so type your question in there and we'll answer it towards the end. So feel free to submit that. And yeah, that's kind of it. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to our friends from the Career Center. So y'all go right ahead.
Jamie, all right, you got it?
I guess I've got it. Hi,
All
everyone. Good
right.
evening. Thank you so much for joining us here tonight. It's so great to connect virtually with you. As Justin said, we are from the Duke Career Center. We serve the entire undergraduate student population. So we are very excited to be here with you tonight to talk about our work and what we can do with your student. I'm Jamie Bird. I'm the Director of Employer Relations on our team. So my role is mainly stakeholder external to the university facing. So I work with our phenomenal employer partners who want to come and recruit students for internships and full-time jobs and coordinate things like career fairs or on-campus recruiting activities. Then my colleague Rudy, I'll kick it over to you.
And good evening, everybody. My name is Michael Rudisil, but feel free to call me Rudy. It's a nickname. I played football, yes. Whether I was good or not, I'll leave that to Google. You can absolutely Google that to find that out. But I digress. I work on the advising side of our team, and our team is made up of communications, employee relations, like Jamie, and then also that advising team. And what we do is we curate and create content for students across career communities. And we'll touch on that in a little bit. All right. Jamie, you ready to get us underway?
Sure can. Let me get our slides up. Just one second. All right, y'all. Ta-da. All right, here we are. Rudy, and I think you are kicking us off.
Perfect. Like I said, my name is Rudy without it comes from the last name. My coach could not say my name, unfortunately. But I'm an assistant director in the Career Center. Every career center has a different part. They call their industries different. They may say they have career communities. They all go about it a different way. Well, we have a team of three groups making up that career center. And in that career center, I happen to operate on that advising team. So I'm working with students to help them to kind of navigate and identify their pathways. And Jamie is working with our employers to kind of bring those opportunities towards our student and make them visible for them and helping them to find what those opportunities are out there. And Jamie, if you'll hop on that next slide, we'll talk a little bit about our mission as a career center. It's already in the title as well, but this really sums up the work that we have been doing since our executive director arrived. Noticing that when it comes to career, the conversation seems to be siloed, or it can be siloed. And it's been siloed across universities, not just at Duke, in various ways. That doesn't mean career centers are not doing great work, because they are. It is tough to help students prepare for the job force. It's tough to help them to navigate that pathway. And what we realized as a team is that Prayer doesn't just exist in our office. It doesn't just exist in that second or middle floor of the Bryan Center where our office is located. It exists all across campus. It also exists with our students and where they come from and their various backgrounds. It exists with the conversations they have with people that are important to them in their lives, whether it be their parents, their friends, maybe a faculty member, maybe it's their roommate once they arrive on campus. That conversation transcends all of the conversations that may take place just in one meeting with myself or any of my colleagues, just because career is meant to have happen everywhere across campus. And that's one thing we want to stay committed to, is making sure we're providing opportunities for students to engage with conversations in our office, outside of our office, and making sure opportunities remain relevant to what students are doing. Jimmy, next slide. Thank you. And that leads me to our guiding principles. If this says anything about our office and our team and the work that we're doing, a few years ago, we actually brought in a team to help us to kind of navigate the direction that we were heading post 2020. And as we had brought some new members on our team, we were thinking about what do we want to be known for, and what does career everywhere for everyone actually stand for, and what does it mean, and how do we get to that goal? And that really came down to these three guiding principles of relevancy, visibility, and inclusivity. Relevancy really just making sure that everything we're delivering remains relevant to the people that we're delivering it to, and knowing that we don't have all the answers and that sometimes we can actually work with students to find what that answer is alongside them in the process. The other thing is, just because we cannot be everywhere, visibility is important. So making sure that we don't remain in her office and making sure students don't just know us as that one location or one stop on campus. We are actively involved in what's happening across campus, making sure we're staying in the conversations of our peers across student affairs and then also across the university, knowing that our students don't just exist in a silo either. They are having conversations that go beyond everything that we're doing. And we believe that career has some aspect of that in it. The other thing is that our students come from different backgrounds, and they also bring many talents and many identities with them to Duke. And we want to acknowledge that in the work that we do and know how that impacts their own career readiness as they pursue whatever is next beyond Duke. Next slide. So, when we are asked about the work that we do, oftentimes, whether it be by students, sometimes it's by people that ask me what I do in my job on a daily basis. They're like, "Do you get people jobs?" And the answer is no. We do not get people jobs. That comes down to the student acquiring the skills necessary, acquiring the knowledge necessary to get to the opportunity they want to. Now, what we practice is career readiness. So we're working with students to prepare to be career ready. So, what does that look like? That looks like helping them to answer the questions along the way that come up about what are the next steps? How do I get to that process? How do I prepare for that? How do I prepare for an interview? What does being a professional mean? What does applying to graduate school mean? How do I navigate having multiple offers or no offers? But how do I contact people? So many questions that our students bring to us, and that's all a part of the career readiness process that we want to share with them, helping them to navigate that, helping to prepare to practice and move forward and what's next for them. And we didn't just pull this out of air. This is stuff that's been happening across universities, and it's been well practiced and time tested through research and data points. NACE, our governing body essentially that works with career schools around the country, they came together and did some research and compiled this data for career competencies. And this is what we're talking about when we say career readiness. So, critical thinking, communications, teamwork, technology. A lot of people will look at these and say, "Oh, that's transferable skills or soft skills." We call those essential skills in our office, just to think about why critical thinking skills or communication are important. When our students are talking about, "Oh, I was in this club on campus, and how does that even relate to this job that I want to do?" And I talk about the vision, the planning, the programming, collaboration with peers, getting up and presenting are all skills that can lend themselves to being hired one day. Next slide, please. And so what we did is we actually took all of that information and we put it into what we call the career development process. And this is an iterative process, and we acknowledge that all of our students are at a different point in this process because we do serve students from first year all the way through the graduate level. Some students have held employment before they even arrive on campus. Some students are navigating their first job. Some students have applied multiple times and they're evaluating what that looks like for them. We say the cornerstone, though, of this process really is know yourself, because what we often find as students navigate and work through this process is that the question arrives, what is important to me? What is my purpose? What how does that impact what I want to do? And how do the things I care about also matter when it comes to applying for a job? We take all of that into consideration. We help students weigh the benefits of applying different places, to pursuing certain pathways, to thinking critically about the next steps in their job search itself, or in the conversations they're having with people as they discover what they want to do. Students arrive at many different places on this process, but our goal is to try to help them navigate through it, and then also to revisit different pieces of it as they go through their journey at Duke and beyond. So I've said a lot of words so far, but I think these are some very important ones to kind of discuss. Really, what are we putting out there for our students to be a part of? First, kind of really living into that visibility component as well as that career everywhere model. It's the Career Influencers Network. So we're actually working with staff outside of our office to prepare them to have these conversations as well. We're helping them to understand like the career development process and also the resources that do exist to help your students identify opportunities that exist out there, how to navigate career conversations when it comes to major, how you navigate conversations when it comes to your technical skills that you're learning. What about it in the lab setting? A lot of our students do research. How does that translate? Well, we're working with many different faculty members and staff members across campus to prepare to have those conversations with your student. The other thing is we work with partners across our institution to host events. So one of the things that we've done in the past is we've worked with Demon. Demon is based in our arts programs across Duke, and we invite students who are going into creative industries to network and to collaborate. Actually, one of our advising team members collaborates with that office to develop this entire event throughout the weekend to invite alums back and to speak to students and help them prepare for a career in the creative industry. That's just one example. Another example would be our Spark events. So Spark Your Career came out of a need that was expressed by our students that once you kind of arrived to sophomore year, you're kind of stuck in between that energy from freshman year, where you have all this attention, like welcome to Duke. There's so many great things existing, and join this club, be a part of this, go visit, go tent for a Duke basketball game. And then there's junior year where there's a big internship push. And then, of course, senior year where you've already got it all figured out. Not really. But it does happen. In that sophomore year, we tend to find students are kind of stuck between of where do I begin and how do I catch up, or how do I navigate where I am currently at. So what we've done is we've tailored events to help find students provide them opportunities to engage with employers, to engage with different speakers and alums that will come to campus and talk about career readiness, critical thinking, um, thinking differently about how they approach their career, then thinking about more tangible stuff like networking and applying and using your resume and tailoring your resume through different resume ready events. Then also the more applicable, which may be putting together a LinkedIn by getting a headshot. There's a lot of different ways that we kind of construct these events to help provide students with resources and opportunities to either engage with alums, engage with different career opportunities that do exist out there. But the goal of all of this is to make sure that we're continuing to make sure we stay relevant with students in the work that they're doing. And we do this by making sure we spread the love throughout our office when it comes to navigating the different career communities that do exist. So I've mentioned that we break down our advising team into several components, and I'll start by acknowledging that my component is healthcare and biomedical sciences. That's the career community that I work with. So I curate and tailor information for that career community. I am seeking alums. I am seeking employers by working with my employer relations colleague to navigate possible site visits for students to attend. I am working with my employer relations colleague to hear about new opportunities that may exist for our students. I am uh, navigating what's going on in the job market at times for students in this area as they apply to these opportunities. I'm also seeking out different bits of advice about what that looks like on the day to day. So, what are some of our students doing when they graduate and they go work as a medical writer, or when they go work as in a gap year opportunity before med school? Now, I have other colleagues that work with like business, finance, and consulting, innovation and entrepreneurship, energy, you name it. We probably intersect at some point in one of these career communities. And I think that's also an important thing to acknowledge, is that these career communities exist to provide spaces for content, but we know that a lot of these contents and a lot of this content in these communities do cross over and they do touch other areas of industries. And so that's why we've kind of pursued this model. Lastly, I'll touch on the technology and tools that we do offer our students. One of the biggest ones is Handshake. I'll touch on that in the next slide. But things like Big Interview, where we provide students with an opportunity to practice their interviews using a webcam and going back and actually seeing themselves, how they articulate information, being able to record it and then also revisit it and practice again, to send that video to someone to share it and say, hey, this is how I've kind of worked on this previously. InterStride is an opportunity for our international students to find opportunities that provides sponsorship. Another thing that we do with students is JobScan. So JobScan is a new tool that we have brought in for our students that actually kind of helps to alleviate some of the concerns that students have surrounding ATS systems, or applicant tracking software, that scans their resume as they submit it into an application portal or employment portal at an employer. Um, what they were finding is that when they would submit it, they were curious about how often it was read and were all the keywords standing out. Well, this job scan actually does that. It actually kind of reads through it, it can pair it and match the ATS system that a employer is using and give them feedback on how their resume looks. Now, it's not perfect and no technology is perfect. We do acknowledge that. So that's also where we come in. We provide individual and one-on-one counseling and advising for students to visit their resumes and look through the details of it and take the feedback from JobScan and then parse through it and make it even better. Our goal is to provide equitable opportunities for students throughout this time. And so that's making sure we continue to expand our efforts and our programs and the work that we're doing, including things like our internship funding program, which provides students with a certain allotment of money during their time for low and unpaid internships. And then also continuing to work with our employer relations colleague to navigate what our employees are seeking when it comes to students. And all of this information, of course, is available on our website. This is the truly the hub for all of the content that we put out. I do recommend taking some time to go look through this. You do not need a login or password for the vast majority of this website. I tell people it's kind of like Google. You can go up to the search bar and you can search resume guide, and there's probably a guide for it. There's definitely a cover letter guide. There's an internship guide. There's a lot of different things that we have tailored, given our expertise, and put together for our students to view and to practice. That doesn't mean they can't come meet with us, because of course they can. And we'll talk through a lot of it, but we also want them to be able to access it when they need it. The other thing is you'll find that you can personalize information on this page, and perhaps that's the most important thing. In a world where information is constantly in your face, we think personalizing your notification and personalizing your career readiness process can allow you to kind of set aside specific time during the day to check that out. So you get the email blast coming from us with, if you're in the job search, job opportunities, or you're trying to learn more about an industry, with new articles coming out that have been posted, or blogs that have been posted by our staff sharing information. I recommend checking this out and encouraging your students to also check this out as well. Lastly, handshake. Like I mentioned, this is probably the biggest tool that we have because this is the connecting tool. This is how students connect with us as advisors. It's how students connect with employers who are seeking out Duke students. I'll let Jamie touch on that a little bit more. And it's how students begin to navigate building a professional profile for themselves. We encourage Duke students as soon as they arrive on campus to begin to fill out this as much as they can. And by the time they really get to their sophomore year, we hope that they have about 100% completion rate on their profile, because what it allows them to do is allows them to market themselves to employers to show, hey, here's the things that I've done, here are the things I'm interested in. What they may find while they're here at Duke is that a lot of what they're interested in actually helps employers to look for them, particularly on a site like Handshake. They can even reach out to different people on Handshake, whether it be students that have held a similar internship or worked at a company. There's ways to message there. It also houses all of our events. So any event that comes from our Career Center will be posted on Handshake as well. They can sign up and register for opportunities through here. And Jamie, I'll let you take it away from the employer side.
Awesome. Thank you for the overcap, Rudy, of all of the advising side of the office and the resources we have. We think it's important too, when we're offering all these resources, to be checking in with our students as they're graduating to hear what are they doing post-graduation? Like, what are the opportunities that they're receiving? Where are they going? Just what are they doing? What are their plans? So each year we have senior survey data that we are able to compile and share out with other students, faculty, staff, other counterparts at Duke, and also our parent partners as well. So the data I'm going to share right now is coming out from the class of 2023, which is our most recent survey that we have information for. So of those students that fulfilled those survey questions, 93% of them said that they were either employed or they were continuing on in their education. So mind you, not every senior is going to fill out this survey, right? But of those that did fill it out, there were 93% of them indicating that they were going to either continue their education or they had a job lined up. So just for fun fact too, over 58% of all undergraduate students at Duke will have mentored research experience at Duke before they graduate. And also 91% of all undergraduates will have completed at least one internship during their time at Duke. So that's helpful to know too, as you're just kind of thinking about the trajectory of opportunity for Duke students. So class of 2023 was also asked, what industry are you going into? And these are the top 5 industries that came from that recent survey data. So 22% of them said finance, 14% said business and management consulting, 13% said computers, IT, technology, 8% reported healthcare and medicine, and 5% reported engineering, architecture, and design. And again, this is just coming from that population that actually completed the survey data. I always want to make the point too, though, that just because some of these industries like finance or consulting kind of crop up and students might see it a lot around campus or with other students they're talking to, part of our job in the Career Center is to expand students' minds of what other careers and fields are out there. So we do our best as an office, and particularly as the employer relations team, to have a wide variety of employers that are coming to campus, that are looking to connect with Duke students so that they can really explore those different opportunities. So this is just a small representation of the kind of industries available for your students to connect with while they're at Duke. We also asked the class of 2023, what is your location? Like, where are you going? 22% of them said they are staying in North Carolina. We found that a lot of Duke graduates, maybe they're from North Carolina or they came here specifically to go to Duke and they want to stay here. They found an opportunity here. So 22% of them staying in North Carolina, 15% plan on going outside of the United States, 15% planning on going to DC, 14% New York, and 6% California. And again, with that caveat of like, a lot of these are larger cities that we're referencing in this data, but there are also students going to all different kind of destinations within the United States as well that are not represented in this chart. We also asked the class of 2023 if they were staying at Duke for their continuing education or if they were going elsewhere for that. Of those surveyed, 36% said they actually plan to stay at Duke for their continuing education. The other students reported going to MIT, the University of Pennsylvania, NYU, and Columbia. So part of what Rudy also mentioned was the different resources and work that we provide out of our office to connect your students with employer partners, with companies that are coming to campus. This is just information from our last academic year. We had 277 unique employers across 9 career fairs come and interface with Duke students. So these are 277 unique employers in the sense that some of those may have come to multiple fairs, but we had 277 individual employers that came to campus to participate in career fairs, many of them coming to multiple fairs and having different touch points with our students. We also had over 7,200 students attend across these 9 career fairs, which we're very happy to see attendance like that. It's a great time for students to connect with our employer partners, especially in one space together. There were also over 23,000 jobs and internships posted last year for Duke students within Handshake. Rudy mentioned Handshake and how students can utilize that within their time at Duke. That's everything from jobs being posted to employers hosting recruiting events or hosting interviews or even attending the career fair. Students can access all of that information within their Handshake account. There are many ways that you can support your Blue Devil as well. We're here as partners and we're all here to support your students as they navigate not just their college journey, but also their career journey. So some ways you can help support them are to listen, to be ready, to be open, to be supportive, to be a partner with us, and also to remember that it's their journey and it might take some time for them to explore different opportunities out there or to try different things. And we're here to help them along the way as they try these different career trajectories. I think also mentioned earlier were different programming opportunities we have throughout the year that allow students to connect with employer partners, but also connect with staff at Duke to help further their planning and just their exploration of careers that are available to them. So we are encouraging students to save the date for Spark Your Career 2025. It will be held on Tuesday, January 7th, right before the semester starts. We'll be offering resume and cover letter workshop, headshots. There will be alumni present for alumni networking, and we'll also have interview tips coming directly from our employer partners. So keep that day handy, mention it to your student. Career Center resources, if you get a chance, I don't know if this slide will be shared, Justin, but maybe go ahead and take a picture of this QR code now. This will link directly to our Career Center resources online and also will give you access to how to connect with our office. So we highly recommend that your students visit the Career Center. We're here and available to help them and certainly want to be a partner with them as they explore different career opportunities during their time at Duke. Here's another way to get in contact with us as well. Any appointments can be made in Handshake. We're also located on the beautiful West Campus in the Bryan Center, second floor, suite 036. Your student can also email us at careerstudent@duke.edu, and we're happy to get back to any questions that they may have. I feel like I just ran through a lot of information very, very quickly. But that is the extent of what Rudy and I have prepared. But I think we have some questions. Yeah? Is there any certain way you want me to go through these, Justin? Can I just go through from the top?
Yeah, you can go through from the top. Some of them, there's some themes. It looks like
Perfect.
people asking about when career fairs normally are. And I
Okay.
think you answered the question about when the next one is, but
Yep. No, happy to go through that. It's a great question. So we preliminarily offer a career fair like right at the beginning of the year. So every academic year, there's a fall career fair that's usually happening in September. That's our biggest career fair of the year, and it draws usually over 100 employer partners that come to campus. We usually have at least like 1,500 students that come to that fair. So it's a great time for students to meet with employers. Any student can attend that fair, even if they're a first year student, they're more than welcome to come and start dialoguing with our employer partners. We really encourage that out of our office. They certainly don't have to wait. Our employers are eager to talk to them and also willing to help them on that career journey to talk and explore industries and opportunities. So we have the fall career fair. We also have another major career fair every January, and that's usually towards the end of the month. It's a little bit smaller just due to recruiting timelines and how many employers are looking to come to campus, but it's still a lot of employers in one space and a great opportunity for students and employers to connect. And we offer niche and boutique fairs throughout the year, or I mentioned two employers coming to campus hosting recruiting events. So that could be an employer coming and doing an alumni panel, or different types of engagement where students can have more of that one-on-one and or smaller group touch points with them. So it's really all throughout the year. And all of these career fairs, for the most part, are geared towards full-time jobs or internships. So those are kind of combined for us in terms of how we plan. Some employers, too, honestly, just come to these fairs to start putting their brand out there. They want students to know what they're doing. So maybe they're not hiring for anything specifically in the spring, but they want to come and be able to meet with students and have students hear about what they do and what it could be like to work for them. So we usually have a calendar out every academic year in August, at least by the semester, where students can locate that. And that's on the Career Hub. So employers can access that and see when things are coming up. Students can also see that. They can also more easily search it in Handshake. Handshake is really your one-stop shop for all things career fair, jobs, internships, anything you can imagine within the Career Center. So hopefully that answers the career fair question. And
And
Rudy,
kind of
there's a
adding on.
question for you. Oh, go ahead.
Oh yeah, and one of those questions about the fair as well was, are they primarily looking for graduate or undergraduate internships? It really ranges, and we do have some alums that may come into some of our fairs, but we also are looking at undergraduate students, graduate students attending these fairs, and they are looking for internships or even full-time positions at these fairs. And then, which question? Yes, quick question. There is a specific advising group for Pratt engineering students, Pratt master students, but for undergraduate students interested in engineering, we do have advisors who are trained to work with engineering students. We are actually all generalists across the board, so we can help in that job search process regardless. Jamie, what else you seeing?
Let's see here. Opportunities for first year students. So I think Rudy and I maybe both touched on this in different ways. We believe Career Everywhere for Everyone extends to our first year students. We know some of them are very eager to start exploring, and we're excited to talk to them too. We usually tell them once they get to campus in their first semester, get used to being on campus, get used to going to class, make sure you don't fail anything, and start coming to us in November once you're settled. We're happy to have appointments with you and to have you start engaging with employer partners. That certainly does not mean they cannot go to fairs or anything like that before November. They certainly are welcome to do so, but we definitely encourage students from their first year on at Duke to start getting involved. So in terms of opportunities, I mean, we have specific programming that's usually geared for our first and second year students. There's an upcoming event in January where it's a lighter networking event with a smaller number of employer partners where first and second year students specifically can come and just have more one-on-one or small group intimate conversations with employer partners just to explore what their industries are and to hear about what their company does, what their company, works towards, what their goals are as an organization. You name it. We try to make that hopefully low pressure kind of situation for our younger students to just start that dialogue so they can get used to talking to recruiters and asking questions and exploring different industries. So that's one example. Rudy, what else from y'all's side do you do with first years?
First year, we spent a lot of time both preparing what it looks like to even search and practice networking, and then also thinking through how their values align with what they want to do so they can articulate those to employers. And so thinking through these are the things that I'm looking for, and having the clear message to deliver and send to an employer as they are reaching out. Or maybe it is someone that is an alum and they want to do an informational interview and ask more about positions and opportunities. We encourage them to engage with them that way. The other thing would be to kind of develop that elevator pitch of practicing what they are going to say when they come across someone who might be in an area that they want to work in.
I'm trying to see too if there's other questions kind of related to this
Yeah.
conversation. So someone asked too if their first year student is interested in getting an internship this coming summer. Is it too early to find employers through the Career Center services like Handshake? Rudy and I can probably both give an answer to this. I would say no, it's not too early. I mean, employers will put criteria on their postings about what kind of student academic levels they're interested in connecting with. And there are some employers that are willing to talk to younger students and do different type of younger internships with them. Now, some are specifically looking for sophomores or juniors, for example, but usually that criteria will determine what your student sees within Handshake. But they can also just go to recruiting events. So maybe the employer is coming to campus to host what we call a student engagement event, which is basically an information session. We just asked them to be more collaborative with students. So we rebranded and called them student engagement events. But your first year student could look for those in Handshake and see employers of interest and attend those, even starting in their first and second semester at Duke. And you can oftentimes have great conversations with employer partners through those types of recruiting activities where maybe they don't even have an internship posted, but your student's able to talk to them and find out different opportunities of engaging already with their organization. So I would say no, it's not too early. But Rudy from the advising side, I'll let him chime in.
Yeah, and I think that addresses one of the continued questions we get, or a type of question that we're getting surrounding like uh, specific cases for certain students. And what I would say is there's no perfect time for a student to come to us. They can come to us at any time without a plan, with a plan. It does not matter. And I think that kind of addresses the case scenario. The student is interested in this. What should they do here? It's kind of depends. That might be an office motto that we have is it really depends on, all right, what are their specific questions that they're asking surrounding this search that they're looking for, this opportunity that they're trying to obtain, this sophomore student that's interested in this type of internship. Well, we would sit down with them, we would go through the steps that we traditionally take, and then we would have them process through those steps, come back to us and reflect on those steps, and then try something else if those didn't work. Or we would go towards a different pathway. We would kind of navigate that process with them as they pursue whatever opportunity it may be. I'm seeing a lot of questions also surrounding our Spark Your Career event on January 7th. That is a kickoff for the next semester because I believe classes start the next day. And so what that is just allows our students to kind of get back into the swing of thing of the semester and to prepare for our upcoming career fair, to prepare for the job search, really the internship search at that point for a lot of different students as well. Preparing to get ready to go off into the semester and to think about what lies ahead of them. Is there a separate group for undergrad students? Let's see. We do have specific advising for students seeking out internships in certain schools, such as Sanford School for public policy. So, if they're seeking specific internships, they can come work with us to find different opportunities, but also there's specific advising as well from Sanford School when it comes to different opportunities. So, I'm seeing both the webinar chat and the Q&A.
Oh, I didn't even check the chat. I'm glad you're checking that, Rudy.
Yeah.
I was looking at the Q&A. I'm seeing a few questions too about Duke alumni, and there are many different ways for your student to connect with Duke alumni. I will say, just from a career fair or employer relations perspective, companies that come to Duke understand that their alumni, A, are very passionate about Duke and getting more Duke folks coming to their organization, and B, that students want to connect with those Duke alumni. So in most cases, if they have Duke alumni, they usually send Duke alumni to the recruiting activities. So whether it's the fair or they're hosting a student engagement event or hosting interviews, they're usually sending Duke alumni if they have them. So that right there is a great way to start connecting with Duke alumni. And I think Rudy might have tips when he meets individually with students about how to connect otherwise with Duke alumni on like a one-off kind of basis.
Yeah, what we see is both in part of cold outreach to alumni or engaging with alumni at specific events that have been set up by either our office or other campus partners. We try to help students to find alumni first where they're already engaging, and then go from there to some cold outreach through Ask a Blue Devil, which exists on our alumni website, or even going through LinkedIn. LinkedIn has a Duke Alumni Network group as well, where students can message alums and say, "Hey, I'm currently interested in getting into this field. I'm a Duke student. I was curious if you mind chatting with me via Zoom for 15 minutes." There's generally a good turnaround for that because generally our students are not asking for money the way that somebody else may be. They're just looking for information.
I'm seeing some questions too about lists of employers. So we don't have a comprehensive list, unfortunately, of employers that recruit with us. I will say every time we have an upcoming fair or event that has employer partners involved, that's listed in the event description. So if your student's looking at coming to the career fair and Handshake, they can actually go in and see every employer that's registered for that fair. It will give them information about the company. It will tell them if they're hiring, if so, what they're hiring for. So that's a great way to start going through some of that information. I will say too, our team is very proud of the fact that we get employers across all industries, all company sizes, all different roles that are coming to recruit Duke talent. They know Duke talent is phenomenal. They want to connect with Duke students. So I don't even think I could say a particular list, if you will, because it's so vast and there's so many different companies regionally, locally, even international companies that are looking to connect with Duke talent. So really Handshake is that best spot for your student to really be seeing the employers that are coming to campus or wanting to connect virtually with our students. Sorry, that's not a more specific answer to some of those questions.
Two more questions that I see that are common. One of them surrounds like what does the time frame look like for the January 7th Spark event? And so headshots 10:30 to 12 p.m. in our career center. And then there will be the main event kicks off at 12 p.m. Let's see. And that will be in Penn Pavilion. Second question. So, and this kind of centers around networking and opportunities and how students are engaging with them. It could be a program, it could be an event. It really just kind of depends. There's a lot of different ways to kind of go about that process. We recommend students engaging in any type of conversation they can have ultimately with a employer, with a faculty member, even with a staff member. That's practicing networking or attending group events. Sometimes our employers come and present small information sessions about their work. That's a great way to begin to network and to ask questions. The other thing, kind of with that as well, is do you have a sense of what share of students get jobs through formal opportunities listed through career services and those that find through informal networking?
Great question.
So it is a fantastic question. And I would love to have the ability to kind of capture all of those metrics, but unfortunately, there is no great way to get students to always fill out their surveys, their information, and things, different ways that we gather information. We are working to continue to grow that for our students, but I can give you a general sense based off my advising with students. Students tend to find some great opportunities, yes, through Handshake. But what we're seeing, depending upon their industry, is that going out and networking allows them to find more specific opportunities that are directly correlated or related with their interests. So Handshake is a great way to find general opportunities or opportunities that may be shared by Duke employers. But if you're seeking out a specific company, you're seeking out a specific opportunity, sometimes networking is the best bet because you don't know everything about the place that you're applying to or looking for. And there's no way to capture all of the opportunities, and we can't capture every employer either coming to Handshake and posting their job. I think about the degrees of separation or 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. That's what I often refer students to is think about it this way. You're networking with one person, you're trying to find an opportunity, and that person at the end of the informational interview, you say, is there anybody else I should talk to? And they say, yes, you should talk to this person. Now you have that second connection. And then you do the same thing at the next one. You're continuing to build that out. And the goal of that is to grow your LinkedIn profile, to grow your overall connections to different people so that someone down the line can share an opportunity that you never saw coming because you talked to that first person. And that's kind of the approach that we have. It's, of course, more nuanced than that, but I won't get into the weeds tonight. Assessment, yes, we do provide assessment for students. This is called Strengths Profile, and it's actually available on our website as well. So I would search up in the top section, Strengths, and you could be able to, or you could fill out this assessment and do a debrief with one of our trained staff members in the assessment. Also, and I think this is a great plug for our career ambassadors because we're always looking for more career ambassadors. Do current students employed at Career Center act as advisors? So they act as advisors in regards to things like your resume or sometimes helping with interviews or writing cover letters. That's really the extent of what they primarily focus on when it comes to more in-depth advising questions. They would kind of pass them along to an advisor on our team, but we do have students that work for us that regularly engage and share information. Now, a lot of the students have also held opportunities like internship opportunities and are able to share from their experience, which we do think are valuable bits of information for our students.
Rudy, do you know about chapel headshots? There's a question about chapel headshots.
I am not familiar with that.
We try to offer headshots at our major career fairs. So, for example, our fair in September, we had a company come and set up in the gym. So, we had all the employer booths, and on one side of the gym, there was a headshot booth. And those headshots were completely free to students to get a headshot. And those headshots are sent via email, I believe, to your student once they're ready to go. So, we do offer that at least those couple of times a semester, and sometimes at other different types of events as well. So sorry we can't answer anything about the chapel headshots specifically, but do have your student check out at least the career fairs. There's probably headshots on campus for other organizations too. Rudy, there's a question about research opportunities on campus. I mean, I'll just say that some labs that do research on campus will post those opportunities in Handshake as internships. So that's one way to look for it. I don't know, Rudy, if you have other tips for that.
Uh, yeah, the other would be Muser, and then we also have a fellowship resource that helps students to find fellowship opportunities that do contain research. And the last big one, we work with our colleagues in the Office of Sponsored Research, or URS. And they regularly post opportunities and share opportunities with students. They also can advise students on pursuing research opportunities at Duke.
There's also a question about when is the next career fair. I'm always happy to plug and promote the next career fair. So our next one is on Thursday, January 30th, and that will be held in Penn Pavilion on our beautiful West Campus. It's usually a packed house in Penn Pavilion when we have these spring fairs, but that is the next one, and it's going to be held from 10 to 2, open to all Duke students. So have your student mark their calendar. That fair is already in Handshake, so if your student's motivated, they can go ahead and see the employer list of who's registered. That list will keep growing, particularly as we move into the new year.
I've also seen a couple of questions about students interested in certain professions or professional degrees. So whether it be law or medicine, whatever career community or industry area that degree may fall under. So like law, education, government, nonprofit, and policy, we do have a career community devoted to that, and an advisor who curates content for that. Healthcare and biomedical sciences, I see a ton of pre-med students or pre-health students interested in getting into dentistry, PA, nursing. I work with a lot of those students to find that pathway and also opportunities that kind of help prepare them for that pathway.
If we missed any questions in here too, you're welcome to contact that, and I can put in the chat that careerstudent@duke.edu, and we're happy to get any answers for you. We're a great free resource here to your students as well. So we encourage any of them to come and utilize our resources and our staff's knowledge. If you have students with particular questions about career tracks and opportunities, our advising staff is phenomenal. So Rudy, y'all should be giving yourself a pat on the back because y'all give great service to our students. So definitely encourage your student to come to the Career Center if they have not already. I don't even think is there a limit, Rudy, that they can come to the Career Center?
No
No
limit.
limit, y'all. Yes, the career fair is on January 30th. January 7th is the Spark Your Career event that's just kicking off the new semester and the new recruiting season. And that won't have more of it's not like the whole room is full of employers. It's more of a prep for students. So resume reviews, some networking, a prep as we're going into the semester and the recruiting season. Also on Handshake already, I believe. There's a question, have you noticed an increased interest from students and or employers for specific jobs? Rudy, do you have anything particular you want to add to that question? I have a more probably broad answer.
Not in particular. I think your broad answer would probably be similar to mine. I've seen a lot of questions too about internships, first year students, sophomore students. There's a couple different ways to approach this. We say early on in their career, if they can find something adjacent to what they want to do, it's great to have just an experience, and you can later communicate that to an employer. Employers often look at our students, or recruiters look at our students, and they'll say, "Your primary job is being a full-time student for 4 years," and that's readily understood by employers. Is that they're gaining skills and opportunities. Um, First year students may have less opportunities, but that's also kind of depends on what they want to do. And I'm not saying they have less opportunities to go out and pursue an opportunity that maybe like a first year student specific opportunity outside of Duke, or maybe something like Bass Connections that exists within Duke as well. It could be a Duke specific summer program. We have a summer experiences fair that took place recently in October that provides Duke students with all sorts of opportunities, and there will be a website launching new information in January about all the summer experiences that can exist. And we tend to direct first year students to that. Sophomore students, we tend to kind of push more towards networking. We also provide other resources like a website called Forge that helps students participate in projects to hone their skill sets and to explore their interests. There's so many resources. I think at this point, I don't want to bore you with all of them, but we just encourage you because I saw this question too. If your student is hesitant about this, send them our way, and you don't have to do it by saying you need to go to the career center because they're going to get you a job or they can get a job. What I would encourage you to say to them is just go have a conversation. You can vent about not knowing what you want to do. You can vent about having limited opportunities in what you want to do. You can vent about being excited about what you want to do. We exist as a place for students to express their questions, their concerns, and help them to navigate that. Jamie, is there anything else?
Um, I'm sure we're missing some of these more specific questions. Please feel free to reach out to that email that we put in the chat. I will say too, to Rudy's point about coming at any point to the Career Center for assistance. Another thing we see sometimes are students getting offers and they don't know whether or not they should accept those offers. We highly encourage your student, if they're receiving internship or full-time job offers, if they have questions navigating that offer, please come to our office. We're happy to help from both the advising and the employer relations perspective on navigating that process of evaluating the offer and anything involved with that. Sometimes people forget that we actually do that part too. I think this is being recorded. Yeah, Justin, we're getting some questions about being recorded.
It absolutely is being recorded.
Do you help recent alumni, Rudy?
Yes, we serve recent alumni up to a year out from graduation, and then after that, they would move on over to DAED, so Duke Alumni and Engagement. They actually have their own site specifically for career services for alumni past 1 year. But a lot of our resources remain available to students regardless. And resources, I mean, what is on our website?
And our website has tons of information. Like some of these questions we didn't get to, you might even be able to find some of those answers specifically on our website. Like I'm seeing a question about internship stipends or funding. There's specific criteria, if you will, for our internship funding program, but you can always email that career student at duke.edu with your specific question, and we're happy to field that and get whatever specific answer we can to help you. Rudy, there's a question about part-time internships during the semester.
Yeah, we can work with students to identify what those might look like. A lot of that does come through networking and specific outreach to alums or people that work at companies to identify what pathways that might exist for them. Sometimes employers may come to campus looking for specific students, but I would say that's more of a networking and outreach thing. And that's what we help students to identify. We also have a new staff member as well. Jamie, would you like to talk about Sydney and the
Oh,
work that she's
Sydney,
doing?
I sure will.
Yeah.
So Sydney is a new staff member on my team. She is a phenomenal new addition to our office. So she's working specifically on student employment type of work within Duke or within the local community. So she's really trying to build up a pipeline of figuring out how our students can have access to those types of opportunities as well while they're a student at Duke. So more to come. It's a new position, but we're so excited to have her. And I mean, really, I feel like our staff is very well rounded in the fact that we have a lot of people working on very specific things that are really trying to solve problems or help make access to certain things within career exploration available to your students. Oh, we're seeing some thank yous too. That's really nice. We're happy to be here with you all. And thank you for your partnership and supporting your student. Tell them to come to the Career Center. Did we miss anything, Justin? I'm sure we did, but we
Listen,
could
I
we could
mean,
go
there's
on for a long
always,
time.
yeah, we're always gonna miss some things, but it's all right. You all shared the contact information for you all. We greatly appreciate it. Again, my friends, thank y'all so much for spending y'all's evening with us and all this great information y'all gave us. We appreciate it. Families, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Few housekeeping things before we head out. As always, if you have any questions, you can reach out to us at family programs at duke.edu. There have been so many questions about, is this recorded? It has been recording the entire time, okay? And we're gonna make sure we get this information to you all. Just give us about 2 days to transcribe and upload and all that good stuff, but we put all of our webinars on our website. Also, there'll be a link to this webinar in our newsletter, which is going to go out on Monday. Okay. So you all will have access to this information. So again, if you need us, let us know, holla at us. We appreciate it. But y'all, we hope y'all have a beautiful rest of your evening. Okay. Thank you so much. Bye, y'all. Bye, families. Thank y'all. And I am going to stop the recording.